We're standing in front of a Vexus DVX 20s. My name is Brian with Intune Marine. It's a beautiful day out here in Minnesota today. Not too much snow on the ground yet, but we're about to take this boat out on the water. This is actually one of my customers' boats. You may or may not have chatted with me over the phone over the years. I'm one of the Vexus salesmen at Intune Marine, and something specific that we do and we care very deeply about is lake testing each and every boat. So myself as your salesman, I'm gonna take this boat out. I'm gonna go through every single option on the boat, calibrate every GPS antenna, target lock, trolling motor to make sure that everything is 100% to your liking. Customer has given me and us permission to take this boat out on the water, do a little bit of video walk around on the boat for you guys out there in YouTube land. Other than that, I'm excited to get out there. Let's go. It's really important to get feedback from you guys, and you guys have answered that and given us really good, strong things that you want to know about more about these boats. One being the trim tabs. I get a lot of questions on trim tabs. Do I need them? Do I not need them? What do they do? How do I use them? We're gonna get out on the water. We're gonna dial these in. We're gonna give you some different things, whether down or up or in the middle, of what's gonna benefit you and give you the best ride in your DVX 20s. Just honesty, props are really hard to get right now, but we'll do everything that we can to get a prop on your boat. There's been a shortage over the last couple years, but each and every one of our boats will have one going out. This one, I've worked with the customer. This is not the correct prop on the 20s. This is a 22 pitch Bravo 4-blade. We're gonna see how this runs on this boat, and then we're gonna take it from there with the customer. Traditionally, this boat's gonna come with a 23. Customer wants me to run this boat and see how it's gonna run. We'll let you guys know. Vexus is the only company in the industry that is giving you the option to directly mount to the transom. As you can see, this talon goes right to the transom. There's no jack plate bracket. Another question I get asked all the time, will the ladder still come out if I have a Raptor power pole or talon on the back of my boat? One of my favorite features on Vexus boats is this back panel area here. Often imitated, never duplicated. Vexus was the first to come out with this. You're going to have a Perco switch for master power. You're going to have your drain plug open, closed, super easy. So if you're in the water, you forget to put your plug in, boom, it's right there. This particular boat has 2 cords. So the reason for that is because there's a 3-bank Minnkota and a 2-bank Minnkota. So for 5 battery systems. So real quick, I get this question a lot at the shop. Do I run this on battery 1 or do I run this on battery 1 and 2? To answer that question, think about it like this, and I'm more than happy to answer these questions. Give me a call at the shop. You're gonna have 2 batteries connected, positive to positive, negative to negative. That's gonna be your house battery. If you have it on 1, it's gonna drain 1 battery down and then kick over to the other battery. If you have it on 1 and 2 all the time and you drain both all the way down and you drain those dead, you're not gonna have a battery. I tell everybody, especially if you're gonna have a Verado with a power steering pump and you're a big troller, you definitely want to have 5 batteries in your boat. Otherwise, there are other solutions to that we can talk through on a daily basis. I'm talking to hundreds of people a month on just different configurations, lithiums, power pole chargers. There's a lot of different things that you can do, and I'd be happy to help you with that. Knowledge and expertise is really important to us at Intune Marine. This is what we do. We're all fishermen and we know this stuff inside and out, and we want to get that content to you. It's the small things that I get asked by you guys. Even something like this, as we get back to the shop, little small things like this piece right here for the strap, we're gonna screw this in. And why is that important? So it doesn't hit your glass right there. Now we're just gonna go idle around so we don't have to worry about that. But a thing that I wanted to quickly address that I get questions on all the time is the Ultrex, okay? The Ultrex has really hit the multi-species walleye storm big time, and we were out there advocating for it, and I'll tell you why right now. First off, as you can see right here, everything bolts onto an Ultrex. You can't do that with a Terova, you can't do that with an Altera. plug and play. It's the cleanest, best way to have all of the new technologies on your trolling motor. Does it make it a little bit more heavier? Absolutely it does. And those are things that you need to be cognizant of when you're thinking about having a setup like this. Here's a question I get asked a lot. Will the 60-inch shaft be enough? 97% of the time, the 60-inch shaft will suffice. And I tell that to everybody, that is the truth. There will be times when your trolling motor can come out of the water. There's nothing you can do about that. A 72-inch is nice, but when I'm crappie fishing with the kids, I don't want 3 feet of trolling motor sticking up when I'm in 5 feet of water. Up here, one really important thing is I get asked, is this supposed to be up on this cradle or can it rest on this piece right here? You are supposed to have it up on this cradle. That is important. So as you can tell right here, it's going to push the trolling motor up. So if you want the head all the way down, you can do that when it's in the water, but when you pull it up, you really should have it on this cradle. Now Minnkota, I don't know, I hear rumblings of it. They're talking about coming out with a 72-inch Ultrex. They're coming out with new renditions of Ultrex, different things out there. No clue when any of that stuff is coming out, but just wanted to make sure that you guys know that. I get asked that a ton. Let's get this boat out on the water. So kind of the Intune advantage is while I'm out on the water and I'm going through this entire boat, I'm checking every single switch. I'm making sure that it works. I'm going through every single graph, making sure that every transducer, whether it be a shoot through or an MSI deucer, working properly, that all the Ethernet connections from the 2 units up there to the 2 units right here are all sharing data, waypoint, so on and so forth. Making sure the side imaging deucer is working properly, all the gauges are working properly, and just all of those little details to when you come and pick up the boat from me and we shake hands and we go out on the water together again, that everything is going to work flawlessly. One button turns all the lights on in the boat, compartments and underneath the consoles. Kind of cool. A lot of people don't notice this actually. Every time I take people out, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. If you look in the Livewell, it's blue, maybe purple. I'm kind of colorblind. But underneath the console, it's red and the compartments are white. Red, white, and blue. I truly do love this boat. I think Vexus hit an absolute home run. There's not really many things that would ever change in the boat. I think they got a 10 out of 10. Back here's a big difference that you'll know and you'll see versus the 20 and the DVX 22 is split live wells instead of one big large live well, and then you lose the horseshoe with the pods, obviously making it the S model. This centerpiece right here will accommodate a pedestal, a fold down seat, or a butt seat. And then behind it, the ski tow pylon. When you take the kids tubing, I really like the split live wells. They incorporated the plexiglass in here as well. You have a center divider in here that shares, so it is one big live well. I get this question all the time. The red nozzle, and what are those 4 or 3 holes over there for? Well, they're for your bilges, and then they're also for your live well, for your pump out. So as you can tell, you can pump out all your water. So if you're ever up at the cabin, you put your boat away and you forgot that you had all that water in there after you pull out all the crappies and you got some stagnant water in there and you don't want to head back out, just pump it all out. In the 20S, the biggest thing that you'll notice is the cockpit area. The cockpit area is huge, and I'm gonna do some poses here in some of the seating, and I'm 6'2". That'll show you how roomy this boat really is. But I first wanna start on this back platform here. As you're fishing, I can fish, and I'm standing right on the jump seat. It's incredibly stable. It's not wonky because it's a seat at all. It's very, very, as you can tell, I can walk all over. Very, very, very stationary. I can bass fish or musky fish or crappie or whatever you're liking. And when I go to jump down, it's not a big jump at all. Most people out there, when they look at this boat, you're automatically gonna have 4 seats in the boat. You're always gonna have the starboard and port side captain's chairs, in at all times, and then you'll have 2 jump seats. So you always have 4. If you keep these 2 in, you'll have 6. Most people will take these 2 out and they're guaranteed 4 spots. I want to quick talk about the seat versus other boats on the market. As you can tell how big and wide these seats are. They're very, very comfortable. When you open the seat, one thing, it just blows my mind. A lot of other boat companies, they'll actually have it in here and you have to pull up. And then when you look inside, it's about that deep. This will open inside the boat, which makes sense, and it's deep. Now that could be an additional cooler if you want, or whatever you want to put in there. And when I sit down here, I'm 6'2". I'm using the railing as a handrail. I have a ton of space. And this person, I'm out of their way. That person up there, they have enough leg room. And this person, so as I sit right here, if I were to sit here, this person, you can pull this up even farther if you had a shorter person. But I can sit here and I'm not in their way whatsoever, because as you can tell, Vexus strategically moved the pedestals offset a little bit, which gives you the leg room. So one common thing between all the boats is this compartment down here. So in this compartment, this is the cleanest battery tray that I've ever seen of any boat ever made. Everything is housed in one location. So right there is your trolling motor breaker. Right there is your accessory breaker for your console and all your accessories. This gentleman wanted the 3-bank and the 2-bank placed in the compartment. Super clean. Went with 2 batteries, so this would be a 5-battery system. Lithium ion batteries for his trolling motor, and 2 Optimas in parallel with the house battery for cranking the battery to power this one boat network that he decided to go with from Humminbird and Minnkota. Truly every single option for the one boat network. Vexus also added these pieces right here. Got feedback from you guys on that, which is really nice. They put it all the way around. As you'll see that, this little soft deal. So when you close it, it's a lot quieter now. Also, when you walk across it, it's quieter. So aesthetically, that's one big difference as well. Vexus really jazzed up this boat. You'll see with the intricate detail of their logo and their EVA along the entire side here. You'll see more EVA down here with the Vexus badge. They're really starting to jazz these up. Another big thing that a lot of people actually haven't seen yet is the EVA along here. A lot of people were stepping on this. It's just another way to protect your investment. These storage compartments here, this is about like that far. I can stick my hand up there. And then back here, about right here. Cup holders, so if you're sitting in the jump seats. And then kind of the really cool parts here I'll go through. So what's wasted space in the floor, right? So down here with a big, look at how thick this is. Nobody has a channel this deep in the industry. So when you get water in here, it's going to evacuate immediately. Symmetrically, there's one on this side as well. And then there's 2 compartments right here underneath your feet. So these trays, and they look just absolutely gorgeous. They're very clean, they're very, very strong. They're made of aluminum. You'll notice this. You get into a boat that has something similar to this, it's made out of plastic. As you drive and as your foot vibrates, you hear plastic the whole time. This is made of aluminum. It is very heavy duty and it's not gonna make any noise. That's the quality that you'll get with Vexus boats. Before we walk through the entire boat of this one boat network, before I walk up, what is this? It's a cooler that they've integrated into the boat. Pretty awesome feature. Nice, it's out of the way. Stationary, it's gonna lock down right here, you can see. It's really nice, you can take it out if you want. You're gonna wanna keep it in because it is recessed down here. So obviously they incorporated this for a step. It's not a big step, which is different than the DVX 20 and the 20s, which is simply just a step. So they utilize this space, which I thought was really cool. So this customer went with the entire one boat network from Humminbird and Minnkota. They went with two 12-inch Solixes at the console. They went with a 12-foot Talon on the back of the boat. They had added an Ultrex 112 MSI, so you're gonna have side imaging in the transducer in the lower unit of the trolling motor. 360 Mega Live, and something that not a lot of people have seen yet, target lock, which is brand new from Minnkota. A question I've gotten asked 10 times in the last 2 weeks: will target lock work with another manufacturer's transducer? It will not. You have to use Mega Live on target lock. Also up here, he went with two 12-inch Solixes on a Vexus dual bracket, which is made of aluminum, very heavy duty bracket. And then also the Mega Live foot switch right here. And we placed that in that position. I called the customer and we went through exactly where we wanted that, so it wasn't gonna be in their way when they were fishing, so they didn't accidentally step on it. And also where your rod butts are gonna go when you have them in the rod tubes. So all of those little things matter for an enjoyable, good experience on the water. Got a lot of remotes. So you're gonna get a remote with the Ultrex. I get asked this question a lot too. Do I get the same remote on an Altera as a Tarova I do with the Ultrex? Because a lot of people are transitioning to the Ultrex and don't know. Answer is yes, same remote. Comes with the trolling motor. Also, this customer went with the Trollmaster 3 Plus, the wireless remote for the kicker, and we'll start the kicker up, make sure that this is all dialed in. And obviously the Talon. I've seen a lot of guys mounting them, and we do that as well. I kind of leave it up to the customer, but mounting this somewhere in an easy location to drop your Talon, that's a good rule of thumb too, and you can mount that right to here. Another thing I talked to my customers about, and I'm really glad that this customer went with it, was a Humminbird external GPS sensor with a heading sensor. You'll see it a lot with people that are putting Lowrances on their boats. They'll put what they call like a 0.1, which is an external, and Garmin has theirs as well. This is very critical for when you're on the front of the boat, because the arrow that you have in the front of the boat with a heading sensor, anytime you move, even with a slight breeze, that arrow is going to be perfectly straight, and you know exactly where you're casting. Where does that matter? You're fishing isolated rocks in the middle of a giant lake like Mille Lacs. You'll lose your sense of direction with your arrow if you don't have a heading sensor. This is ran through the NEMA network, which is applicable for all makes and models. NEMA's been around for a long time. So your boat will have to be outfitted with NEMA setup and also the Ethernet cables to have everything talk properly. So as we drop the trolling motor with all of this stuff on it, it's gonna add some weight to the trolling motor. So here's some good best practices that I would definitely strongly advise. You engage the trolling motor as you pick it up. I kind of use my left hand to cradle the unit. And as I come down, gently set it down. And you can move this cord. There's different configurations that you can do with that. As you'll see, your 360 will be off the bracket on the left, target lock on the right, almost kind of like a V for each technology. And then your kickstand doesn't touch your boat. That's out of the way, very clean. And as we start to move now, as we start to check the Mega Live and the Mega 360, this is a setup that I've talked to a lot of you guys out there. This is kind of the feedback. You got to have your map up because you got to see which direction you're going. Always having your 360 going in the background. And then as you're hunting or you're scoping, you're definitely using your Mega Live on the front. It's all about the effort and the details. So we just got done calibrating the Ultrex. Now you can just put an Ultrex in the water and hit spot lock and it's gonna hold you right there and that'll be just fine. But if you do grab your remote and you calibrate it, it's going to be more accurate and hold you in a tighter position. So we're actually currently calibrating the heading sensor. As you see the target lock rotating in a circle. Now it's different between Helix and Solix or Apex, so make sure that you got your manual handy as you're walking through it. You can see right now heading sensor is being calibrated. Leave the transducer in the water until the process is complete. During calibration, all transducer, it's completed.
Chirp sonar, Mega Live.
So we just paired the Mega Live foot switch with the target lock. You hold the left and the right, and then up here this will start blinking as it pairs. And again, that's why it's really important. You're gonna pick your new boat up. I'm gonna walk you through everything, and you're gonna have a stack of literature about that big. If you've never read anything in your entire life, go through all of these, because they're really important to know all the nuances of your boat. There's a lot of updates and different things that you got to keep up on. They're very important to keeping all of these tools running as smoothly as humanly possible. That's another thing as well. Whether it be an external GPS antenna, or each individual head unit, or a target lock, or the trolling motor, they come out with annual updates for all of this software all the time. So it's really important to register your units. Humminbird makes it very easy. Register your units with their company, with the serial number, and they're actually going to notify you when new updates come out for all of the products that they have. Us at Intune Marine, we make sure that everything before this boat leaves has 100% the most current update. So rule number one, always make sure that the windshield is closed before you take the boat up on plane. We're gonna go test drive this boat. We talked about the 23 pitch Mercury Bravo 4-blade that we have on here. We're gonna see how that performs on this 20S. We got about half a tank of gas. Air temp's about 63 degrees. It's pretty warm for Minnesota in October. Cool water, boat should run fast. When we take the boats out, obviously there's a break-in process on these Mercury engines. It's 2 hours, and then from hour 3 to hour 10, essentially you can drive it how you want. You just can't hold it in the same position for longer than 5 minutes at a time. For the first 2 hours, they're gonna give you 2 exact RPM ranges that they're gonna want you to stay in, with a sudden burst here and there without having the throttle in the same position for longer than 1 minute. We just did a quick burst just to make sure that everything was operating smoothly. Definitely okay to do. Hit 60 miles an hour, just right at about 6,000 RPMs. Not a big straightaway or anything like that. So I definitely think that, you know, once the motor's broken in, different things like that, that will be just good. I'm actually really pleased with that prop. I thought the whole shot was just fine. Not a big difference from the other prop. Other than that, I really want to touch on the trim tabs. A lot of people ask me a lot of questions. How do you use them? Why do you need them? Because they're still relatively new. We've seen trim tabs out there historically going back, I don't know, upwards of 10 years maybe, but generally they were only on really big boats. They came to the freshwater market from the saltwater. Most of the technology that we have, that's kind of how it works. It comes from saltwater. But now everybody's doing trim tabs, and I'll tell you why they're incredibly important. It doesn't matter if you have a 20.5-foot boat or even a 19-foot boat, they can help, absolutely. There's a ton of pros to trim tabs. I don't know any negatives about them. I'm gonna go over those with you. How to use them, where to run them, why they're important, and what they're gonna do. Every time you turn on your power switch in the back, when you're getting your boat ready to dump it in the water, or you're right here at the console, you're gonna hear your trim tabs fire up. So what we're gonna do is they're up right now. I'm gonna put them all down, and you're gonna hear them go down. I'm gonna go over 3 reasons and 3 things that make trim tabs worth it. One thing is when you have a heavy load in the boat, full Livewell, 6 or 7 people in the boat, when you have them all the way down, it's gonna give you a really good hole shot. Not a lot of people talk about that. It's kind of a cool feature. the boat instantly goes on pad, which is really, really, really cool. And the reason why that's cool is, let's say you wanted to save a couple bucks and not get a hydraulic jack plate, which also helps you get up on pad quicker. Right now, with the trim tab all the way down, and just by pressing one button, right now I am at 14 miles an hour, and this boat is on pad right now. So at around 14 miles an hour, if you just want to go cruise with the family and you want to be able to have a conversation, you're just going for a cruise, I would say about 14 miles an hour you can have this boat on pad, which is absolutely incredible. So trim tabs, you do got to be careful with them, right? Because you don't want to spear a wave or anything like that. But we have very calm water. I want you to watch this bow when I have the trim tabs all the way down, of how amazing the whole shot is. You literally cannot get any faster than that. So while you have them all the way down, you also can really hone in and fine tune that by the bow up and the bow down. So you could go down a little bit on both, and you can really kind of just really dial that in. It's also really nice if you're in like 2 to 3 footers, put them all the way down and then start to come up and really kind of, you gotta feel the boat. What feels best, you'll start to come up and it'll just be the perfect area for those trim tabs to be set at. It's going to keep you dry. It's going to have less wear and tear on your boat. You're not having waves crashing in at a 45 into your boat. It just really, really helps. And then the third major thing that I want to talk about is when you have a heavy load or a lot of load on this side or a lot of load on this side, and I gotta go that way, and I have those, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You have those waves, the cabin's right there, and I have 3 footers just smashing up into the port side front bow of my boat, and those big bone crashing. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to push that side of the boat up. I'm going to take the right and I'm gonna go down, which is gonna lift that side. And now those waves aren't going to impact directly in the side of the boat up in the bow. It's going to be more down here. And what that's going to do is it's going to get rid of all that added pressure and stress and noise hitting the boat up there. It's going to make a smoother ride as you drive in, and everybody that's in the boat is going to be happier. Incredibly important to put trim tabs on your boat. We are huge advocates of them. I've never had a person say, man, I'm really upset I put trim tabs on their boat. But knowing how to use them is really important. And last final thing, because I forgot to touch on it, I'm going straight into big ones. 5 footers, 6 footers. My recommendation would be to not use your trim tabs when you have that big of waves. That's more of, it's the importance of having a 4-blade prop, which has been around for a long time now on these big multi-species boats, because you need that extra propeller to push you out of the hole and give you that power in that mid-range. When you're going up those big waves, you're gonna power up and you're gonna come down. You're gonna power up and you're gonna come down. Trim tabs really aren't gonna help you there. The only thing that would be a hydraulic jack plate, which is a nice advantage. You can lower that jack plate all the way down and get that motor all the way down and just ride those out. But other than that, having the trim tabs right here, very simple, very easy to use. I'm a big fan of the manual over auto. I think auto's cool. Don't get me wrong. Vexus has an auto glide upgrade. You can get that. There's other companies that make auto. The manual, in my opinion, I want to be in control of whatever my boat is doing at all times. I don't want my boat to do something when I don't expect it. So that's why I'm a big fan of these, and we'd love to talk more about them and get you out in the boat with them. All right, just got off the water in the 20S. Went through a lot of stuff, guys. You know, made sure that everything was connected, everything was calibrated, everything was working properly, sharing waypoints, connectivity, manufacturer options, pumps are working, graphs are working, deucers are set up properly. All that stuff is incredibly important. You know, one thing at Intune Marine, our mission statement's always been to exceed customers' expectations, and we honestly believe that. We live and die by that. We can't do that unless we do this type of stuff. So it's very important to us. It should be important to you in your purchase. This is a large investment, and we want to make sure that, you know, we are doing everything possible to be the educator and the advisor to you in your big decision. So thank you guys so much for your support. It's been amazing. I know you guys go on Google reviews and all the different things and give us awesome feedback. We're not perfect. We're always looking to get better. Let us know, and thank you for the love and support. Brian with Intune Marine. Give me a call at the shop. I'd love to talk boats with you. That's what we do for a living. This is what we breathe. I'm Brian with Intune Marine. We'll see you at the lake.